include on that note card an email address just in case time will not permit us to get you an answer so that we can respond to all questions that you have on tonight. God bless you.
Thank you. Good evening. Is that good? Yes. I can talk loud, so I don't really need a mic. I thank you very much for inviting me. It's always wonderful to have an opportunity to visit and talk about knowing your rights. It's so important to know your rights. I know that historically we haven't known our rights, and even if we did, it didn't matter. But today, it does matter. What's more important than knowing your rights, or just as important, is asserting them when the time comes. So it's not enough just to know your rights. You got to assert them. Now, I want to talk about three areas. One is, what are your rights when you are encountering the police and you're just walking down the street? If you're walking down the street, there are a couple of reasons that you may be stopped. But one in particular is when a police officer has a reasonable, articulable suspicion that crime is afoot. And when that occurs, when they think that there's something criminal that's going on in the area, they have a probable cause to stop you. They can stop you. It is not against your rights. It's not anything. It's not supposed to be anything that intrusive. But it's called a Terry stop. And the Terry stop allows a police officer to one, ask you some surface questions, and two, to do a pat down. It's an outside pat down. It's not supposed to be intrusive. It's not supposed to be looking through all your pockets and that kind of thing. It's supposed to be looking for a weapon or something that may prevent a police officer from being safe. So they can do a pat down. A lot of people want to know, can they ask me my name? Yes, they can ask you your name. Do you have to answer? Well, no, you don't have to answer, but it's to your benefit if you do. Because, of course, they're going to think something is going on if you don't want to tell them your name. I mean, so you should tell your name, say your name. If they ask you where you live, you may want to say your address. But other than that, you don't have to say anything else. If they ask you, what are you doing around here? You're walking. I mean, you can walk around the neighborhood without having to be suspected of doing something wrong. But you don't have to answer. You can say, am I free to leave? You can say, am I under arrest? You can say, are we finished here, your officer? And move along. If you're detained, then there is, excuse me, there's a Fifth Amendment right that kicks in, and you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. If you don't remain silent, what you say will truly, truly be used against you in a court of law. So don't say anything. Just don't say anything. Just remain silent. As I said, it doesn't do any good to know your rights unless you assert them. So many people operate with the police the way they operate in their daily lives. And our natural instinct in daily lives is to talk about it, to straighten it out, to work it out. That is not how you operate with police officers. You don't try to work it out. You don't try to straighten it out. You shut up. Shut up. That's what you do. And then let an attorney work it out for you. you can be falsely accused of something. But you can say things that really may seem innocent to you, but may not sound innocent when it shows up in a police report. So you have to make sure you assert that right to remain silent. When you're stopped, when you're at home and an officer comes to your door, they may come to your door and they do these things called knock and talks. And knock and talks, they may knock on your door, they may ask you to come in, they may ask you a few questions. Well, you don't have to answer any questions. You don't have to invite them in. In fact, don't invite them in. If they want to come in, you tell them they need a warrant. If they threaten you and say, well, all right, I'll be back with a warrant, say, go right ahead. If they say, I'm just here because we got a report that you're selling cocaine in here, don't say, okay, come on in, because all I do is weed. You know what? That's against the law too. So don't go for that okie doke. Okay, so just don't let them in. Don't let them in. When you're driving your vehicle and you're stopped by a police officer, they need probable cause to stop you. But if you don't agree, you still have to show your license and your registration. You have to be cooperative. And it's not only what you say, but how you say it. You can be, I know a lot of times we're in a hurry. We feel as though the stop is unjustified. How dare you stop me? I didn't do anything wrong. You may not agree with why we're being stopped on the street, in a car, somebody knocking on your door. But remember that this police officer is doing their job. And they're human beings. And they deserve to be treated like human beings. And they're also people in authority. Whether you like it or not, they have authority over you at that point in time. Understand that and respect that authority. Whether you like the person in the uniform or not, respect the authority. And tell them and speak to them respectfully. And it doesn't even matter how they speak to you, because we don't do evil for evil, do we? You do what's right. So when the time comes, if you end up in court, then you can defend that. Police officers wear mics, body mics. They have video on their police cars. They're picking up what you're saying. If you say the wrong thing, if you act as if you're resisting and obstructing what they're trying to do, they can arrest you. And resisting and obstructing, by the way, is a felony. So they can stop you, you haven't done anything wrong, and you can end up being arrested for a felony just by giving them a really hard time. So, be respectful. Only answer your name and give over your identification if requested. And don't invite them in. Don't invite them into your home. Don't invite them into your car. Now, a police officer may search your car under certain circumstances without a warrant. But what you have to do is make sure that you get on the record that you do not give consent. Because if there's a problem with that stop, then not giving consent can help your attorney defend your case. But don't you try to defend your case right then. Let the attorney do it later. I want to throw in one more thing. I know a lot of people ask questions about school. Because there are police officers in the school now, school officials even, sometimes they search students' backpacks, they search students' lockers, and they have a right to do that. If they believe that there's criminal activity involved, and the student is participating in some kind of criminal activity. So, when your child has their information or their